Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to change the way the world eats. Guys, my name is Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, productivity coach, helping people like you to learn how to use nutrition as a tool to feel better, look better, and do everything else better in your life, guys. Nutrition is definitely a tool of self-improvement. Happy Monday, by the way, guys. It's a new week, new beginning, time to set new goals, create new visions, and then act on them to make them your reality. Today, by the way, in Playa del Carmen, we have this workshop for business women breakfast group that I organized. And we have a special guest speaker, guest expert, and she's going to be teaching us, walking us through, guiding us through creation of our big visions, big goals for 2022 in a way that is practical. So we don't just dream together, we also create plans to act upon our visions and goals. I'm very excited about that, right? We're gonna get a head start into 2022 with a lot of intentionality. Intention is such a huge thing in our life. If we don't have any intentions, if we don't have direction in our life that we set for ourselves, then we're just gonna drift and end up somewhere we didn't intend to end up, and then wonder, how the hell did I end up here, right? And so if you don't want that to happen, then design your life. And that's the only difference between people who get what they want in life and people who wonder, how the hell did I end up here, right? Some people have visions and goals, and they act to make those reality. Besides this piece of motivation, of drive, of intention, today we are talking about a couple of interesting things that will help you to maintain ideal body weight easier, to have natural sense of hunger that supports your ideal body weight, and also a couple of simple things that will help you to improve your nutrition profile in a balanced, meaningful way, a way that supports your health, your fitness, your well-being. And in this episode today, I'm combining neuroscience and nutrition, and also the science of gut health, gut microbiome research. That's, my favorite thing to do in life is to combine pieces of information from different fields and sciences, bringing back to people actionable and very effective tools to improve health, well-being, fitness, and performance. So I'm a combiner, so to speak, a mixer of different sciences. I'm very good at interpreting in-depth science and then combining different fields to bring practical takeaways to you guys and my clients and myself. So without further ado, let's get to practical stuff, right? Guys, if you sometimes struggle with hunger, or you end up putting on weight from time to time because you overeat here, you overeat there, and you're hungrier than at other times when you don't put on weight, right? A lot of my clients, women, when we start working together, they report to me that they just feel hungry. They have something for breakfast and then they feel hungry and they start snacking, and that snacking never really stops till the end of the day. And of course, you end up with all these snacks, overeating day after day after day. And even by a little, it adds up. In one of the episodes, we did the math. And if you overeat by just a little over 100 calories every day, by the end of the month, you're gonna end up with a pound of body fat, somewhere in that number. And then by the end of the year, you can end up with 10 plus pounds, right? And that year after year, you can end up with quite a lot of pounds. So overeating over your needs, even just by a tiny bit, 100 calories is really not a lot, will make you put on weight more often than not. And putting on weight, being obese, being overweight, in most cases, it means less health, less vitality, less fitness, and less of rich life experience. It's not about body shaming or being in a specific body fat percentage. It's about health, vitality, and how you experience your life. And so you want to kind of have your hunger levels, your appetite on autopilot, so it helps you to maintain your ideal body weight year after year. And guys, your hunger levels, they have a lot to do with a couple of things. Your blood sugar levels, when that fluctuates a lot, your hunger will be all over the place. So we talked a lot on this podcast about blood sugar levels and how, for example, eating long-lasting carbohydrates and managing your carbohydrates will help you to maintain that stable blood sugar, right? And when eating stuff with processed carbohydrates, with added sugars of all kinds in your drinks, maybe fresh squeezed fruit juices, eating desserts, eating things like cookies or all kinds of, energy bites with a lot of added sugars and caloric sweeteners, right? All of that doesn't help you to maintain a regular blood sugar. Instead, when you opt out for something with a lot of fiber, beans and lentils are especially great for that. We also have things like tubers, like sweet potatoes. White potatoes are not that great at helping most people to maintain stable blood sugar. Whole grains like quinoa, and amaranth and buckwheat and oats, they do help to maintain stable blood sugar. Sugary breakfast cereals do not usually, right? So regular blood sugar. But then another piece of information that I want to focus on today, that comes from neuroscience and gut microbiome research, gut research. And that has to do with special nerves, special neuroreceptors in our gut that specifically look for three things in our gut to shut down our hunger or lower our hunger levels. So we need to get three things in our meals to be present in our gut for those receptors to send more satiety signals to our brain and make us eat less calories. Because guys, our gut, our brain, they have a purpose to make sure that we consume certain essential nutrients to keep us alive, right? And so until we get those nutrients, more often than not, we gonna be hungry. And what it means is you're gonna eat more calories than you actually need because you don't get the nutrients with those calories that you actually need. And for survival, to thrive, to maintain health, we don't just need calories. We need those essential amino acids or proteins. We need essential fatty acids or some kind of fat. Not all fat will do, and that's what we are talking today. We need certain vitamins and minerals. And the richer your diet, your meal plan is in essential nutrients, the less calories you need to deliver those nutrients, the easier it is going to be for you to maintain your ideal body weight, because your hunger level is going to shut down naturally once you get all the essential nutrients. So let's get back to the topic of today's conversation. So our gut has special receptors to sense three things in our meals. And once we get those, more often than not, our hunger levels are gonna drop, our hunger gonna shut up, and we not gonna feel like we need to snack. So three things: essential amino acids, or those essential building blocks of proteins. There are 9 of them, like there are 20, I believe, amino acids in total, building blocks of protein, but 9 of them we cannot make. We need to eat them. And our gut is always searching for those essential amino acids because they are essential to absolutely everything that happens in our body. We are built out of protein. Every single reaction almost happens because of protein acting as enzymes or helpers in chemical reactions. So proteins, they need for absolutely everything. And those essential amino acids, again, we cannot make, we need to eat them. And so the brain and these sensors in our gut, they are looking for those essential amino acids. Where can we find them? We can find them, all of them, in all animal products. And then we can find all of them in only 2 plant-based products, and those are soybeans and quinoa. The amount of those essential amino acids are different in soy and quinoa and animal sources. Animal sources are richer, they're closer to us by their composition. And so animal protein sources always will shut down your hunger levels faster than plant-based sources. At least that's been my experience. But if you are plant-based, if you're trying to eat more plant-based foods, then eating soy in the form of naturally fermented tofu or tempeh, eating soy or eating quinoa are your best chances to get those essential amino acids and help your gut and your brain to shut down hunger and help you to maintain your ideal body weight easier, because the less hungry we are, the less we're gonna snack and overeat, consume unnecessary calories, and it's gonna be easier for us to maintain ideal body weight. But what's even more important, those essential amino acids, we need them. We need them for health, to maintain health, vitality, fitness, everything, beautiful skin, hair, muscles, bones, to maintain strength, to maintain great brain performance. We need those amino acids for so many things, for drive, for motivation, for focus, right? And so again, there are receptors in our gut that are actually analyzing your meals and then send back the information to our brain. Like, did we get amino acids, all of them or not? Check mark or not, or keep searching and keep you hungry, right? And so the takeaway, the practical takeaway from that is, in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, especially if you struggle with hunger and overeating, you do need to have those essential amino acids present. And they're not present in breakfast cereal. Well, if you consume it with milk, they might be, or if they are fortified with some protein powder. But always go for natural foods because they work better on so many levels. So if you struggle with hunger, if you are interested in your best performance, health, and vitality for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or for whatever meals you have, you need to make sure that those essential amino acids are present, or essential proteins, right? And so for that, you either need to eat animal-based protein-rich sources, like eggs, fish, meat, yogurt, cheese, or plant-based sources like soy, foods, or quinoa. So, number one, our gut, there are receptors in our gut that search for essential amino acids or essential proteins. Number two, there are receptors that search for essential fatty acids or essential fats that, again, we cannot make, we need to eat them, and they are also crucial for a lot of functions in our body. They are put into cellular membranes, and the health of our cellular membranes or outer layer of our cells is very important, because that's what allows the cell to communicate with the rest of the organism, the rest of the cells, with our nervous system. That's cellular membrane is what allows some nutrients to get into the cell, some nutrients to go out when they need to. That allows water to travel through membrane, going in and out. So cellular membrane is a smart outer layer of our cell, and it needs special fats to maintain a certain level of fluidity. Besides that, fats are important for brain function, for heart function, for so many things, guys. And so these fatty acids are so important that this is the second thing that our certain gut receptors search for in our meals. And those essential fats, fatty acids, those are omega-3s and omega-6s. And in omega-3 family and omega-6, we have actually different fatty acids. They're not all the same. So you need to consume different foods to get all of those essential amino acids. And I'm going to give you a shortcut how to get all of them for your breakfast. And believe it or not, guys, having them for breakfast will help you to maintain a lower hunger level and to perform best, make better decisions for the rest of the day, right? So I highly recommend you to have them for your first meal of the day. So your shortcut, a couple of sardines or a piece of salmon, doesn't have to be big, even 2-3 ounces is enough for breakfast. A couple of eggs for arachidonic acid, that's omega-6 fatty acid, the animal form that we actually need. So we have omega-3s, EPA, DHA, marine origin, so coming from the sea. We have arachidonic acid in eggs. And I recommend to have also plant-based source of omega-3s and omega-6s to round it all up for all the possible needs of our body and our gut. I recommend to eat something like a handful of walnuts that have omega-3s and omega-6s of plant origin. So if I were to design the best protocol to lower your hunger levels and to make sure that you do get all the essential fatty acids in all the best bioavailable forms, and you have the best chances to, again, shut down those receptors, stop the surge, and have less hunger levels throughout your whole day. So that is what I would do. Sardine, a couple, or a piece of salmon, a couple of eggs, or one egg, a handful of walnuts, and you already, in your eggs and your fish, you have protein, so you're also getting essential amino acids. So you're basically killing 2 birds with one shot, and your hunger levels gonna go down. I have a lot of people reporting back to me that they started eating this breakfast and they're not hungry for hours and hours. And there is no surprise, guys. It's pure science. There are receptors in our gut that search for certain things. When they find them, they stop searching, and there is a signal sent from the gut towards our brain that, okay, we got everything we need for now, at least the essential stuff, and we can make this person not as hungry. So again, omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6 fatty acids we get from fish, like salmon and sardines, a couple of eggs for omega-6 is the best form, arachidonic acid, because there are different forms, and a handful of walnuts. And now let's get back to the third thing that gut receptors, special receptors, search for in our meals, and that is a source of blood glucose, right? We need the fuel all the time to fuel brain activity, especially, and then the activity of all the nerve cells and a lot of different tissues and organs in our body. We need that fuel, and the best fuel, as I mentioned at the beginning, is the one that has a lot of fiber attached to that. Fiber is important for 2 reasons. It slows down the absorption of sugars and carbohydrates that helps you to maintain balanced blood sugar. That is important for hunger levels and satiety. And number 2, that fiber in those whole foods also feeds your gut bacteria. And what I noticed from more than a decade experience with client and my own experience, when you do not provide any food in the form of fiber to the trillions of bacteria in your gut, more often than not, you're gonna stay hungry, and you're gonna overeat on highly caloric substances more often than not. So feed your gut, not just yourself, and your hunger levels also gonna drop. But besides that, make sure that you deliver long-lasting carbohydrates to keep your blood sugar balanced and to also shut down those other receptors that do search for a source of blood glucose or blood sugar. So eat your carbohydrates. So the breakfast that I found shuts down hunger in most people for many hours. A lot of them can't even finish the meal. They're like, I'm already done. Even though previously, just the day before, eating their own breakfast or some weird sandwich with some coffee or croissant or some breakfast cereal, they said they would feel hungry the whole day, right? And now they changed breakfast. The first day, They already don't want to eat anything for like almost the rest of the day. That's how powerful it is, guys, because it's based on science. Again, there are receptors that look for those essential proteins, essential fats, the source of blood glucose, and also it's a good idea, I noticed, to feed our gut bacteria at the same time, so they also have a source of fuel that shuts down hunger the best in most people. And so what I recommend people to add, either a portion, a serving of chickpeas or lentils, any sort of beans, they would work the best for balanced blood sugar and feeding your gut bacteria, because beans and lentils, they are the richest sources of prebiotic fibers, those fibers that our gut bacteria absolutely loves. There is like 15 grams of fiber per every cup of cooked beans, and that is a lot, guys. I don't think any other food has this. So, breakfast that will shut down your hunger in the best possible way, also delivering a lot of nutrition. Did I mention, guys, that besides essential proteins, fats, carbohydrates, fibers, that meal will deliver quite a punch when it comes to vitamins and minerals. So we get a serving somewhere around closer to maybe 1/3, or, depending. Probably I would eat a cup of lentils or beans, so as a source of your carbohydrates. Also, I noticed that oats work pretty well for a lot of people. The oats have less nutrients and less fiber than beans and lentils. That's why I'm not so much for oats, but for lentils and beans, just because of their nutrition profile. Then we have our essential fats in a combination of eggs, a little bit of fatty fish, a little bit of walnuts. Doesn't have to be a lot. And we have our protein source for essential proteins. Animals better, just because their amino acid or protein profile is closer to human profile versus plants. If you are going for plants, then you do need to consume soy or quinoa. And for your essential fats, because you do not eat eggs or sardines, you probably need to supplement with marine sources of omega-3s like algae oil, and eat your handful of walnuts too. And that's about it, guys. So essential proteins, essential fats, we get our fiber and source of blood glucose, basically carbohydrates. And for plant-based, let me repeat, I would have something with soy or quinoa. I would have a handful of walnuts. I would supplement with algae oil for breakfast, and I would add additionally whole lentils or any sorts of beans like chickpeas. For omnivores like myself, I would have 1 or 2 eggs, I would have some sardines or some salmon, a handful of walnuts, and again, lentils and beans. Try this breakfast and let me know how your satiety levels rise, how less hungry you are, and how much more productive you are for the rest of the day. And I'm 100% sure it's gonna happen for you guys. So try it, let me know how it goes. And remember, your gut is quite a smart mechanism to sense nutrition profile of your foods. Not just calories, but a lot of other essential nutrients like certain fats, certain proteins, certain, also vitamins and minerals. At the end of the day, your brain will know how much of that you get. So when you go for whole foods, foods of high quality, foods with specific nutrition profile, you're going to naturally end up eating better for your health and fitness and your vitality and your productivity and everything else. You will naturally eat less calories, you will naturally have less hunger, and that will help you to maintain your ideal body weight easy. And most of you will actually start dropping weight without having to be on any sorts of crazy diet or going low carb and no carb or doing very crazy intermittent fasting. Most of you guys do not need that. You just need to learn how to eat whole foods, how to eat essential nutrients in a simple way. And that's it. Let me know what you learned from this episode. Share this episode with another person who might be hungry all the time. They're like, why am I hungry all the time? And this is why. So share this episode with them. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Have an awesome week, guys. Stay tuned for all the other episodes this week. And till next time, as usual, eat better daily.